Amidst cheers and boos from various lawmakers, President Muhammadu Buhari has presented the 2019 budget. The budget expenditure is estimated at 8.83 trillion naira, and the president says it is based on the Economic Growth and Recovery Plan. Oyin Adekunle has the rest of the story.
The presentation began with a rendition of the national anthem before the president's speech. Before getting into the 2019 budget details, President Muhammadu Buhari begins by highlighting some economic achievements in the past year.
The last 3.5 years have been challenging both at home and abroad. Commodity prices, both oil and non-oil, have been volatile. Global trends, be it security, trade, our politics, have also been unpredictable. Here in Nigeria, we have to cope with disruptions in oil production and exports, security challenges, and devastating floods. Through hard work and by the special grace of God, we have weathered these storms and made progress on many fronts, which is why we have cause to be optimistic about the future. The economy has recovered from recession.
The president is, however, interrupted by lawmakers who cheer and jeer across party lines. The jeers anger the president, who expresses his displeasure at the conduct of the lawmakers.
May I appeal to the honorable members that the world is watching us, and we are supposed to be above this.
The president then goes on to explain the performance of the 2018 budget.
In 2018, average oil production up to end of the third quarter was 1.95 million barrels per day, as against the estimated 2.3 million barrels per day for the entire year. However, average market price of Bonny light crude oil was higher, an average of $74 per barrel as at October, than the benchmark price of $15 in the budget. As at the end of the third quarter, federal government actual aggregate revenue was 2.84 trillion naira, which is 40% higher than 2017 revenue. The overall revenue performance is only 53% of the target in the 2018 budget, largely because some of items are yet to be actualized. We have now rolled this revenue item over to 2019.
He then goes ahead to focus on the 2019 budget.
The 2019 budget proposal is based on the following assumptions. A, oil price benchmark of $60 per barrel. B, oil production estimate of 2.3 million barrels per day, including condensates. C, exchange rate of 305 naira per American dollar. 4, real GDP growth of 3.01%, and E, inflation rate of 9.98%.
The president, however, warns that the benchmarks are subject to changes.
Notwithstanding the recent softening in international oil prices, the considered view of most reputable analysts is that the downward trend in oil prices in recent months is not necessarily reflective of the outlook for 2019. However, as a responsible administration, we will continue to monitor the situation and will respond to any changes in the international oil price outlook for 2019.
President Buhari then goes on to present some of the 2019 revenue projection.
The total revenue is projected at 6.97 trillion naira, which is 3% lower than the 2018 estimate of 7.17 trillion naira, consisting of oil revenue projected at 3.73 trillion naira, while non-oil revenue is estimated at 1.39 trillion naira. Recurrent cost of 4.04 trillion naira, recurrent. B, debt service of 2.14 trillion naira. And C, statutory transfers of about 492.36 billion naira. D, sinking fund of 120 billion naira, which will be used to retire maturing bond to local contractors.
He also speaks on the national minimum wage. President Buhari says he will set up a committee to ensure the implementation of a new wage does not affect revenue.
Let me say something about minimum wage issue. I am committed to addressing the issue of a minimum wage, and I will be sending a bill to you, the National Assembly, on this. However, in order to avoid a fiscal crisis for the federal government, as well as the states, it is important to devise ways to ensure that its implementation does not lead to an increase in the level of borrowing. I am accordingly setting up a high-powered technical committee to advise on ways of funding an increase in the minimum wage and the attendant wage adjustments without having to resort to additional borrowings.
After his speech, Buhari lays the documents before lawmakers who will consider the budget before returning it to the executive. Adekunle, TV 360, Nigeria.